एंड वेलकम टू जागरण हाईटेक। आज हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं मिस्टर जेसन मिलर फॉर हाईटेक कॉन्वर्सेशन। मिस्टर जेसन मिलर इज द सीईओ ऑफ Getter, which is a social media app, and he was also the advisor, the political advisor to Mr. Donald Trump back in the day. आज की जो कॉन्वर्सेशन है ये इंग्लिश में होगी क्योंकि जेसन मिलर की प्राइमरी लैंग्वेज इंग्लिश है, एंड हम इसको हिंदी में सबटाइटल्स इसके लिए आपके लिए ऐड कर देंगे। ऑलराइट मिस्टर जेसन, वेलकम सो मच टू द शो। अ वेरी वार्म वेलकम and a big namaste from India to you. How are things in the West? How is the weather, first of all?
Great question. So here in Washington, D.C., it's cold, but not quite as cold as it is in New York at the moment. So I think in New York, it's in the high single digits, at least in Fahrenheit, which I don't know the exact Celsius translation, but let's just say it's below freezing. So it's cold.
Right. So we've seen a lot of change in temperature in the political atmospheres as well throughout the world. And, when you talk about certain apps and certain social media platforms, there's a lot of censorship which is happening in terms of people not being able to express their views out there in the open. So you coming together and, starting this whole new thing where it's an open space for everybody and nobody is regulated in any terms whatsoever. Tell us about this and how has been the initial response been like?
Well, great question. So we launched Getter on the 4th of July of 2021, which is our Independence Day, asking people to stand with us as we declare independent or celebrate our independence, but also declare independence from big tech. And specifically by that, we're talking about the big tech social media oligarchs in Silicon Valley who have now started to use political discrimination to pick winners and losers in the free speech debate. And we believe that really the fundamentals of free speech as we move into this century are really in this digital town square. That's where all the conversations are happening. And when you start excluding certain massive groups of people simply because of their ideology, then people retreat to their corners and we have a lack of engagement, a lack of discourse. So what our principles are is simply we support free speech and we oppose cancel culture. And we have pledged that we'll never allow someone to be deplatformed or algorithmed or shadow banned simply for their political beliefs. Now, we do have moderation. We do have terms of service that we adhere to. So, for example, you cannot post any illegal behavior. You cannot post things with racial or religious epithets. But when it comes to your political takes, you're never going to be sentenced to digital jail simply for having a proverbial hot take, so to speak.
Interesting. So, as you mentioned that there is going to be regulations in place for certain things so that, it's not misused by certain people for posting irrelevant and illegal information. If I have to bring it down to AI level of things, do you have certain words which help you distinguish between racial discrimination and is there like an automated system in place?
Excellent question. So we use a two-pronged moderation system with both AI. And so the way that AI works, there are certain words that are blocked. So certain racial or religious epithets or certain very specific acts of violence that make it clear that you're intending to commit acts of violence. And so, or say, insurrection or something of that nature. So there are very specific things to make sure that, again, so say terrorists cannot infiltrate the platform and start pushing certain things. But then everything goes through a filter, and if it stays a 9 and above, then it's automatically in that list that's blocked. If it's say between 5 and 9, however, then it goes to human moderators for review in case it needs to be looked at for context. Maybe it's repeating a news article. Maybe it's a joke. Maybe it's clearly parody. Different things translate differently with different languages. So sometimes you have to look at the full context to make sure. And then obviously anything then say a 5 and below is free to post on. And all of this happens within milliseconds, so people don't even notice it. But again, the reason being is that we want to make sure that everyone's political voices are protected. And look, there are some tough conversations, some tough political debates that are happening. And so, for example, I know that Twitter, some of the other big tech platforms have really discriminated against people of the Hindu faith who want to make sure that India has a right for self-determination. That's an issue that's come up in a number of places. For example, Eric Zemmour, who's running for president in France, has had tough conversations with regard to both illegal and legal migration with regard to his country. And those are debates that in many of the social media platforms would be excluded, would be kicked off. They would say, well, you can't go into that neck of the woods. One of the biggest things of late, particularly, or COVID treatments or COVID mandates, for example. And this is something where when we talk about some of the mandates and the lockdowns, things like that, there's fierce debate all over the planet. We're seeing with the truckers in Canada right now, for example,
Right.
who are protesting the mandates. Many of these conversations are shut down when it comes to the big tech platforms, or you get sentenced to digital jail, or they just algorithm you out of existence. We want to make sure that we protect these tough debates, these fierce debates, to allow them to happen. But at the same time, we're going to make sure that Gettr is an inviting platform for people, regardless of your ideology, your perspective, to be able to join.
Interesting. So there's a mix of human intervention, and there is AI, of course, there's big tech, which is helping you run the show behind this. Throwing it back a little bit, you mentioned that you guys kicked off operations on your Independence Day, on the American Independence Day. So what is the story behind that? How long did it take you to bring everything into the picture? And, how big is your team? Do you have support coming in from India, or is it all done in America?
Excellent question. So the reason, really the impetus for why we launched Gettr was because 2020 was the worst year for political discrimination in U.S. history. And we saw it not just with the origins of COVID, where people were sentenced to digital jail simply for saying the virus came from a lab in Wuhan, which, spoiler alert, the virus did come from a lab in Wuhan. I don't know if it was man-made or if it was accidentally carried out by a worker, but it came from a lab in Wuhan. Even the Washington Post has had to go and reverse themselves. Or we saw with the Hunter Biden scandal just prior to the 2020 election. And for folks in India who might not have followed that quite as closely, Hunter Biden, the president's son, had dropped off a laptop to be repaired. He forgot about it. The shop owner tried to contact him, couldn't get it, ended up handing it over to a Trump ally effectively. But what was on the laptop, there were a couple of dodgy pictures with Hunter and a feather boa. But the issue there was to discuss many of the Biden family business dealings, particularly the enacted and proposed deals with regard to Ukraine and China. Where are the two big hotspots in the world right now? Ukraine and China. Those are the big hotspots, and people have a right, I think, in a major democracy to know where funding comes from for candidates who are running for office. Anyways, that was shut down and squashed. The big tech companies, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all colluded to say that the story, which was published in a major mainstream newspaper in the US, the New York Post, the oldest newspaper in the US, they said the story couldn't even be shared. And they allowed people to say it was Russian disinformation and all this nonsense. Anyways, so fast forward, then President Trump is deplatformed from all social media. And we knew that something different had to happen. If they're willing to deplatform sitting president of the United States, they'll deplatform anyone. So later that summer, some of the engineers who started Gettr began working on it. And then I ultimately got involved with them in early 2021 as we started having discussions about what a future social media apparatus could look like. And then I joined in June of 2021. We launched it in July. And now we're bringing free speech to 4.5 million people all around the world. We have roughly about 30 or 40 engineers. We do have, I believe, 5 or 6 that are based in India. I believe that's the right number. I might be off very slightly. And India is one of our major expansion points for 2022. In fact, I'll be visiting India in the last 2 weeks of March. And so I very much look forward to making my first trip to India. But we see it as a great bastion for democracy. Obviously, right. Prime Minister Modi has had some issues with so far with Twitter. But we've also had some great supporters from India join, folks from the Hindu ecosystem, for example. Right. We've had a number of members that have joined, and we think it's a great place for expansion.
Right. I was just coming to that question as well. Of course, I've seen a number of incredible government entities have also joined your platform. And of course, with a big base of 749 active internet users in this country, tell us about your India expansion plans. Did you just briefly mention about that?
Exactly. And so with India, you have the combination of a couple of different things. You have both a motivated base, people who understand the issues of big tech censorship. And that's primarily what we've seen with Prime Minister Modi and some of his disagreements with the big tech platforms. So you have a population that's aware of some of these issues. That's one of the things, is that a frustration with big tech is one of the primary movers for people to come and join Gettr. And so having a community that's aware of what's going on is key. Obviously, with India, you're adjacent to China, and you're very aware of the spread of socialism socialism, the impact of communism, not just with, say, the Belt and Road Initiative, but for you guys, literally back and right up to your border. Obviously, you're already dealing with Pakistan, but then you also have China that's right there. And I think especially countries that are adjacent or near China and realize how their expansion plans are looking to go everywhere. Obviously, our Quad allies are people that we want to make sure that we're communicating with. But then also you have, as you described, you have a population that is now having much increased access to wireless. And as we look toward incorporating in not just our right now, which is essentially kind of the microblogging, the competitor to Twitter and Facebook. We're going to be launching in a couple of weeks our Vision, which is within the app, a short video competitor to TikTok and Instagram, which is very popular in India as well. But then as we move toward the summer, we're going to be launching GetterPay, which will be our 2-coin crypto ecosystem. And we also believe that with India, with so many people who are in that developing economy, will have an interest in looking at some of the crypto opportunities. So we're going to try to bring some of the wonders of the digital economy to people all around the world, and in particular, India.
Interesting. All right. So before, one last question, and of course, I think this is going to be the critical one as well. You've been associated with a lot of political campaigns in the past, and now you're in the tech space. How is this different? And, for you, with new tech and new regulations coming into the picture, how do you see it differently from a political standpoint of view versus like a pure tech standpoint of view?
Well, great question. So I obviously have a very strong political background. I worked for President Trump on both of his 2 campaigns in 2016 and 2020. And I'm never going to pretend to be anybody that I'm not. I'm still the same conservative Republican. But the one thing is that all of us who are on the team very much check any political viewpoint at the door. And so, again, we're not saying that we're going to be different in who we are, but we want all voices to be on this platform. If you're on the left, if you're on the right, maybe you don't even care about politics. Maybe you just want to talk about sports or cricket or American football, or maybe you just want to take pictures of your dogs that are running around. That's fine too. The main 2 reasons people come to social media is they want to connect with friends and family. They also want to get breaking news. And so we want to try to help bring that to people and have them share in this experience. And we believe that the pendulum right now, the free speech debate might be a little bit more on the center right, but it will eventually swing back to the center left. And we want to be here to support people as they realize these big tech platforms have now made a decision that they're into world forming. They're trying to shape things in their perspective. I'll give you one final example on this. What we've seen lately from YouTube, for example, where they now put warning labels on conversations about climate change, I think is some real dangerous political discrimination, because when you put a warning up, that automatically shades or editorializes for the viewer what that content is. And then it raises into question, well, who is it that's making the decision that this could be harmful content or not? So at Getter, for example, either something abides by our terms of service or it doesn't. But what we don't do is put up there and say a warning, because then it's raising the question of, well, who's making this, who's putting this warning on? Why is it harmful content? And in the case of YouTube, to say that climate change is effectively on the same level as, say, mass violence or rampant disinformation, I think starts to raise questions about, well, are you trying to keep people safe, or you just want to suppress certain political voices? And I think that's a slippery slope.
Right. Exactly. So, Mr. Jason, it was very interesting talking with you. You're more than welcome to please come to India, because we definitely need another platform over here where the voices are not that suppressed. Thank you so much for tuning in today and joining with us. Thank you.
Thank you. And I look forward to meeting you in person when I come into town. And I'm very excited to visit India.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.